I'm gonna give you an example because I mentioned the word. Here. Allah is God, right? So I'm gonna give an example of that here in the book of Job 27:9. It says, "Will the Most High hear his cry when trouble cometh upon him?" That's talking about the wicked, right? Now, when you read here through the Hebrew portion of it, it says, "Will the Most High?" What do you have there? Allah. Okay, a God like one, mighty one. So really, what should have been there in John 1:1 was, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And I'm gonna show you something, cause we have that red edition of the Bible that we told you brothers about. Now this is John 1, chapter 1, verse 1 and 2 in the Greek, right? And this is posted in the front of that Bible in the beginning pages. And when you read through here, it says, "In a beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the God," which is supposed to be the gods, plural. It says, "And a God was the Word." This was in the beginning with the God. So whenever you read the English translation, where you see this word here, theos, right there in John 1:1, it should read "a God," and the Word was a God. All right, why? Because Yahweh Shai is singular, you know. So when they put that together, that's why people get confused when they read it, because they don't really understand the breakdown of it. So it says that read it again. "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the." It should have had here gods, and the Word was with the gods, and a God was the Word. This was in the beginning with the gods. Because see, if you understand the way the English is written too, you have here God, you have capital G and lowercase o and a D. Whenever you see that, that's Alahayim. When you go into the Hebrew, the word is Alahayim. But when you see it all caps, that's the Most High himself. Just same thing here. When you see a small G represents, it could be a judge, it could be a magistrate, or it could just be a one single angel, you know, one single God. All right. So that should be the breakdown there. All right, now we'll go back here and we'll wrap this up, because pretty much the point was made. I'll go to the second verse, because the second verse is kind of short. A matter of fact, no, you know what? Before I go there, I have another thing I can show you, brothers, that further tie this together. Now this is the book of Acts, the 12th chapter, right? Just to further prove that that word theos is singular for God. All right, this is the book of Acts 12:20. This is this devil Herod, who exalted himself, and the Most High basically killed his ass, made worms eat his ass out. You know, from his stomach, you know, worms started eating him up from the inside. This is Acts 12:20. "And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Zidon, but they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king's chamberlain their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in purple apparel, sat upon his throne, and made an oration unto them. And the people gave a shout, saying, It is the voice of a God, and not of a man." Now when you go here to the Greek portion of it, it says of a God, theos. See, theos, a God or goddess, a general name of deities or divinities. All right. So this right here says a God. So it could be either singular for God, or it could be plural for gods, depending on how it's written in the scripture. In this particular scripture, it was just dealing with a God. They called him a God. That's why it had the word theos. Now over here you have the word theon in John 1:1, which is plural. All right. Now that was just one aspect of it, or one example. Now this right here in the book of Acts 28 is when Paul got bitten by that serpent, and the inhabitants of that island was looking at him, because they said, "Man, this dude is a murderer. He escaped this, he escaped that, he escaped the roaring of the sea, but he couldn't escape this serpent." So the serpent bit him, and he was sitting there, and they were waiting for him to get woozy and drop dead, but he didn't. And this is what they said: "Howbeit they looked when he should have swollen or fallen down suddenly, but after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said that he was a god." All right, now let's scroll down here, and said that he was a god, theos. See, you have the word theos, which means a god or goddess. But then in this particular verse in John 1 and 1, you have the word theon, which is plural. So it should be, as we read here, it should be, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with the gods, and a God was the Word. This was in the beginning with the God. And remember when we read in the Hebrew portion of it had the word here, wa hawa'ah. And the word wa hawa'ah means and he. Alright? When you break it up, wa hawa'ah, and he. The word, hadabar, haya was alahayim, with the powers. That's what should be there. Alright? I had another example, but the example on that was pretty much made. And you know, with that, I'm gonna close the lesson out. Well, I forgot I didn't hit verse 2. Let me just hit that real quick. The same was in the beginning with God. How tus en arche pros ton theon. See, theon again. And it says the same was in the beginning with the gods. Should have been there. All right. And when you read it in the Hebrew, here it says hawa'ah. Now the word hawa'ah is he. Now you didn't see the word he here. The same was in the beginning with God. So when you read it in the Hebrew, in verse 2, you have there hawa'ah haya. All right, let's write that down real quick. Let's go to another page. Here we go. So it says hawa'ah, right, which is he. Then it says haya, was. Hawa'ah haya, and he was mara'ash, right? Now the word mara'ash, if you brothers have been paying attention, the word mara'ash is of or from head or beginning. Okay, the ma at the beginning of a word is of or from, and then ra'ash is head, and you could also be used for beginning. Alright, so it says he was of or from the head or the beginning. Alright, that's why it said there, it says in the under English, the same was in the beginning with God. Alright, it says ath, which is definitely ha alahayim. Alright, so we're gonna go and break that down for you. It's not letting me copy it. Alright, no big deal. So it says ath, which is definitely, as I was explaining to you brothers earlier, and then ha alahayim is the powers or gods. Alright, so that's what it means. So it says here in the second verse, see in the second verse in the Hebrew it has the word he, hawa'ah, which means it was talking about Yahushai singular. That's why I should have said here, it says he was in the beginning with the gods. Over here it should have said in the beginning was the word, and the word was with the gods, and the word was a God. He was in the beginning with the gods. That's what should have been there. Alright, because you have the word hawa'ah in the Hebrew, which is he, and it's in both verses. It's in both verses. Alright, so you know, with that, you know, I believe we pretty much made the point. And once again here you see where the word theos is, it's a God, you know. And with that, you know, I hope you brothers learn something, and until the next time I say shalom.